Nothing like snow in Georgia. Been like this since about 8 o'clock and it ain't stopped. Okay, I'm going to the train room. Hey guys, it's Ravenhawk6910 reporting once again, and with the snow coming down, it's time for another layout blog video. One thing you're going to notice new about the layout since the last blog video in January is the fact that I have started double tracking the layout. These crossovers are a little tight for my preference. A lot of cars tend to derail when you run through them, so I'm going to look for some softer crossovers. But I've decided to double track the layout. Eventually I'm going to isolate them right at this point right here, and so that way whenever I run I can just set up another transformer and run the two main lines separately, because currently the way it is, if a train's running on the first main line right here forward, they'll move forward on the second main line as well. But that's just basic DC for you. Eventually I'll upgrade to DCC, but that's nowhere in the near future right now, so yeah. But it's pretty good. I've got it just past the station right here. That's where I've got it to right now. And then on the other side of the layout, I've got it to this side right here, almost all the way across the bridge. So eventually it's going to loop back around and connect back into itself, so I'll have 2 loops of track, which will give me more flexibility and allow me to run more trains. So that's really all that's new with the layout itself, so let's move on to the new equipment and rolling stock and projects. The first thing you're going to see that's new here is this Southern Railway radio control box car. I've actually had this car for a while now, but I've just gotten it finished, and even now I think I'm still going to have to replace the couplers on it eventually. But this is a right track kit that I picked up at Trainmaster Models back in the summer, and it's pretty neat. It's a nice little car. I've never had one of these, and these are a little hard to come by. Not as much as the Big Johns or the tobacco cars, but still pretty hard to find. So I was very glad I found one already assembled. All I had to do was put the paint on it and add the decals. And the decals already came with the car, so soon, hopefully, you'll be able to see this car with some of my locomotives, at least, doing slave service, as the Southern referred to it as, back in the time before they had distributed power units. Sitting on a portion here of the new double-track mainline is this Amtrak F40 that I've converted to a cab control car. This is an old Walthers F40 from their Trainline series. And I've had it pretty much ever since I started HO, and the motor eventually burned out. It wasn't a good puller anyways. It was heavy, it was lunky, so eventually I just stripped the motor out of it and decided I'm going to turn this into one of the MPCUs, which is exactly what I've done here. I've actually had this semi-complete for a while, but the blue was not how I needed it to be. So I finally found the right shade of blue and applied that to the locomotive, and I added a snowplow to the front, although I'm going to have to paint that eventually. And I still need to find some decals for it, so I'm trying to find the right decal sheet that has the stuff. I'm preferably looking for the ones for the P32s. So, but the baggage car door came from a Walthers Amtrak baggage car with the roll-up doors. I removed all of the fans and all of the fixtures on the roof and added sheets of styrene and filled that in with modeling cement to hold it in place. And pretty much this has been an on and off locomotive project for a couple of years now. But I'm really glad that it's coming to a point where I'll be able to use it soon. I still need to put a rear coupler on it, but other than that, it looks fine. Here's a quick comparison with my Athearn Ready to Roll P42 compared to my cabbage car. You can clearly see how the paint is almost perfect. It's not 100%, but at least it's the right shade of blue. I literally went through 2 or 3 shades of blue on this car before I finally got it right. So there you go, just to kind of a quick show you what the thing's going to look like eventually with a train. I'm kind of aiming for a Heartland Flyer or maybe an Illinois Zephyr or a Pure Marquette train. So I'm not quite an expert on which trains use the F40 cabbages with superliners, but I do know there are a few. So there you go. Here's a new project that I started on just this month. This is an NS SD40-2 with an Admiral cab. The Admiral cab comes off of Shapeways. Unfortunately, you can't get the cab anymore, which really sucks. But this cab, and I'll show you right here, it comes separate from the locomotive. It's screen printed. And what I've done here is I've given it a wash in Goo Gone to get rid of the rough texture surface that comes with this thing, so it's nice and smooth, albeit piss yellow. And I still have to modify the shell a little bit so it'll fit. But it's coming along pretty nicely, and I'll probably be able to be dremeling on it since I'll be snowed in for a while. Yeah, I know, snowed in Georgia. You know what you do? Model trains. That is all. So anyways, this is just an old Athearn blue box shell, standard fare of pretty much all but one of my SD40-2s. I just find them to be great for customizing. So, this one's going to get the modifications, and hopefully the cab will fit. Hopefully I won't break it. Now I've probably just screwed myself. And maybe next month I'll be able to show you some work that I've done on this unit. So, yeah, there you go. Now for some updates on a couple of projects I showed in my last video. On the right is my C32-8 that I'm turning into a Conrail Ballast Express unit. Last night I got the numbers on the cab and the number boards on the front installed, so it's almost ready to go for the decals. I still have to order them, but once they come in, I'll start working on it. Also, my C40-9W, the 9294, as you can see down there, I've gotten a lot of work done on it. So as you can see here, 9294 has changed drastically since the last blog video. So I've gotten the windows installed back in. I've gotten a couple of windshield wipers put in, but a couple of them broke when I was trying to install them, so I got to order some more. I've gotten the logos on the side. I've gotten the majority of the safety labels on. The only decals I don't have on yet are the white stripes along the walkway here. So I'll eventually have to do that, but this engine's almost complete, and so the cab is already dull-coated, so that's ready to go. I just need to get the rest of the decals on, dust this thing off a little bit, and then I'll be able to dull-coat it the rest of the way. Now, behind the 9294 is my newest Dash 9, the 8820, which is a C40-9, which is a top hat or a standard cab. And I came across this unit and acquired it, so thankfully I was able to. This is a rail power shell and cab on top of a rail power frame with an Athearn blue box drive in it. So it pretty much runs just like all my other units with blue boxes. It's pretty good. It's a little, doesn't really like going backwards on my curbs, but you know, that's to be expected with big 6-axle units. So I've added a few things to it. I've got the numbers put on the back, right there. And I've also added a little bit of the stripe on the walkway, but I ran out of decals. I've also gotten the builder's plate and the model designation put on there, and I've also installed the number boards on the front. So this thing's just pretty much a decaling project, but I am thankful I came across one of these, because normally you have to get these things either in brass or you have to custom build. So, very nice. Very, very nice. Am I getting GE happy? You be the judge. So at the beginning of the video you saw this coal train here with the 1030 and the 3266. I haven't really shown off my coal train in much detail yet, so I just want to go through it quickly. This train is a mixture of Walthers, BLMA, E&C shops, Bowser, or Stewart Hobbies, depending on your preference. And a couple of Athearn cars are thrown in as well. The first three cars behind the first hopper you see, those are BLMA. These Conrail ones are all E&C shops. That one right there is one of the Walthers ones. You can easily spot them because the E&C shop ones actually have the ribs inside of the cars, and the Walthers ones don't. And I will say on these Walthers ones, buy replacement wheels if they don't come with the metal wheels, because mine still have plastic and I am convinced they're egg-shaped. Because as you've seen in quite a few of my videos where these hoppers have been featured, they just vibrate like crazy. Also thrown into the train to kind of break up the NS mix is there's a couple of Clinchfield hoppers, as you can see right here, and there's also a Southern Pacific 5-bay hopper as well. So these were kind of the first coal hoppers I got, so I just wanted to throw them in as maybe a couple of leased hoppers. And then there's another E&C Shops Conrail one. And then this next one is a Stewart Hobbies hopper. I've actually got two of these, but the other one I'm doing something special to. I'll show you in a minute. And the last four cars, one Conrail and three NS, these are all E&C shops. All in all, a pretty nice coal train. And then you got the beat up, rusted, and graffitied EVC caboose for mine runs. All in all, a pretty good setup. Finally, the last car I want to show is another one of these Stewart Hobbies 100-ton hoppers. And this one is getting some special treatment, as you can see. This one is being turned into the NS Pier 6 50th anniversary hopper. So I've already got the paint on. I'm waiting for the decals to come in. I still need to do a little bit of touch-up paint on it, so that way it'll be good. But once this thing's done, it'll be a sweet addition to my coal train. And so that about wraps it up for this month, guys. Keep an eye out for next month's video, as well as other stuff here on my channel. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like and comment if you like, or hit the dislike if that's how you feel. I would hope you would hit the like button at least. So, with that, this is Ravenhawk6910 signing off.